Would you like more success in the garden? Of course, we all would. Stick with me. It's Friday and we're gonna plant. But we're also gonna talk about how to become more successful in the garden. Whether it's your garden or whether it's business or whatever you're doing, everything we do is either a process or a system. We don't really achieve our ideals. We fall to those systems that we have in place. Now, if you're old school and you till up the garden, you plant, you weed, you water, that's one system. If you're like me, you put the deep mulch down, you pull back the soil, you plant, that's another system. And whichever system that you're using, as long as you're consistent, you're gonna be successful. Right here is a good example of succession planting. I've got beets up here. We've got the next round of beets that just sprouted. And the same thing with the carrots. These are coming on nicely, and it's not even time to look under the cardboard for the ones we just planted. And as the season continues and we start harvesting, we're going to continue to plant right behind it. That's one system. We're going to continually plant all year long. You can do this too. Companion planting is another system. And for us in the deep mulch, you know what our process is. We remove that mulch down to soil, then we plant like normal. We also have a process where we trellis our tomatoes under string. So we're going to put it underneath the wire. We just dig down deep enough to plant. Since this is a tomato and it's getting a little leggy, we're going to dig this a little deeper. And this all comes down to process. We're going to go ahead and pinch off these upper leaves. Remember, this entire stem will root. Take that out of there. We're going to lay it on its side. Backfill. Kind of turn it as we backfill a little bit. And that'll develop really fine roots. And up here next to it, we're going to go ahead and put a little basil in. Except I'm not going to plant this whole thing. We also have a process to plant basil. We're going to split this up. And as it grows, then we'll come out and prune it, and we'll make more basil. You just break that right in half, and we have two nice plants. And this is a beautiful companion, so that's part of our process. So now we've got a basil, a tomato, and a marigold. I'm going to put another tomato there, so let's go ahead and put this basil right over here. Pull that mulch back. Just look at that soil. You don't have to worry about how deep you plant your basil. It's just like your tomatoes. The whole thing will root. We plant that kind of deep. Snug that in. Then we give them a little drink of water and we mulch back in around them. That's our process. When you have a strong system or process and you stick with it, you will be successful. Now, one of the other things that we've done is we've got our lettuces, our iceberg, we'll harvest those and that'll be out of the way. But we've got this wide open brand new area. The mulch has to do its job. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure it gets covered with viney squash. And the first one we're going to do is 3 butternuts. Just like everything else, we just pull that mulch out of the way. So right here hadn't had mulch on it more than just a few months. And you see that's still pretty hard clay right there. But I know it's got life in it already. We'll see what we get. But this is how that soil looked, that orange color right back there that we just looked at. That's what the mulch does to your garden. I'm going to take this whole little group and I'm just going to set it in there. It doesn't even know it's been repotted yet. Now's where we can have a little fun. We can see which does better, seeds or starts. Since we're planting every day, we're going to have to plant something tomorrow. And I'm not really going to give it away. Tomorrow is our review Saturday. So I'm going to tell you, we're going to go ahead and plant some squash seeds. And that way we can compare to see which one does better. Hope you join me for that. You really can do this too. But this is a great example of seeds. Remember, we planted this in the dead of winter. And this thing froze solid. but it went ahead and germinated. We had several germinate, and they're coming on strong. Take a look at these versus the ones we started in containers and then planted out in the garden. So far, the seeds that were direct sown are winning. Obviously, our seeds versus starts is not very scientific. You have to have a level playing field. We've started things way different times, way different temperatures. They've been handled different. And this was actually planted at the same time, then up potted, then brought out into the garden. So it's on par, but so were these. And they were brought out in the garden a little later. And they're a little bit further behind. And these little cabbages, they came out just the other day. They're twice the size that they were, but they're not very big at all. But we'll see in a couple weeks, as things catch up, which one actually does better. I don't really think it really makes a lot of difference. It makes you feel good when you start a bunch of seeds, you feel like you're way ahead. But as it warms up, the tomatoes that the cat pulled out, I'm gonna replace those. We haven't even started seeding those. But by August, they're gonna be producing just as many tomatoes as everything else. I know that because I've done it before. You can do this too. And I think you've heard that old saying, we do it this way because that's the way we've always done it. And not necessarily the smartest way to think about things. We've talked a lot about it. I would never tell another adult how to garden or how to arrange flowers for that matter. But it is a good idea to have a decent system or process in place. If you're happy with the way things turn out for you, continue to do that and follow the system or process you have in place. And if you're not happy with it, change your system. I wasn't happy with what I was getting, so I changed my system. Now I'm doing the deep mulch, and I'm more than ecstatic. That's just my opinion. I am a PhD after all. You know, post-hole digger to you. You really can do this. And in this process of companion planting and succession planting in the deep mulch, the hardest work I ever have to do is harvest. I think that's a pretty good problem to have. Hope you get a little something out of this. And hope you join me tomorrow. Till next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.